Our online masterclass starts with 5 words, which 51 years ago have casted the world in fear and hope, which are still a symbol of the unexpected that calls for urgent action, which for free men and their families meant 1 week struggle for life or death. These 5 words are: Houston, we have a problem. Imagine the year is 1970, by the way, the year when I was born. Precisely it is 11th of April, and the clock in Houston shows 13:13. Precisely in this moment in time, the American Space Agency, NASA, shoots the spaceship Apollo 13 to the moon. The experts plan to land on the moon in 4 days. On the 3rd day, April the 13th, there is a loud crash and the 3 astronauts see how white powder flows into the space. This is their oxygen. 2 from their 3 oxygen tanks have just exploded and their entire oxygen flows into the space. The Houston Control Center is in panic. No one has ever planned with such a disaster. The families of the 3 astronauts are completely horrified. How many of you have seen the film Apollo 13? Feel free to raise your hand on your online camera. If this here is the Earth and this here is the moon, on the 3rd day, they are very close to the moon when the explosion happens. If they continue flying according to the plan, they have energy until here, somewhere between the Earth and the moon, but not enough to reach the gravity of the Earth and so to be pulled on the Earth's surface. It is clear now the mission landing on the moon has failed. All already planned geological or other lunar research have been blown away by this explosion. Now, the lives of the astronauts are at stake. Now, it is a matter of life or death. In the Houston Control Center, there is one man in charge, the 37-year-old Gene Kranz. He, with his short and flat haircut, he looks you always into the eyes and acts tough but competent. Gene grasps immediately that in order to save the lives of the astronauts, he has to win one fight. The fight for energy. Energy in the space is everything. You need energy in order to move the spaceship, in order to navigate it, but also to communicate with the Earth. Now, every energy unit, every single lamp, has a life meaning. Now, they need a miracle. What does Gene Kranz do in this historical moment? He gathers his entire Houston team in one room. The room boils from anxiety and nervousness. The heads are challenged, the ideas rush around, the hearts are full with care, fear, and hope. Gene listened each and every one very carefully. At one point, he calls for silence. Then he pulls all these people spread around the space together. Everyone, the 3 astronauts in space, the Houston Control Center, scientists, engineers, hundreds of people. Gene says, "We haven't lost a man in space until now, and as long as I'm responsible, no one stays there. Failure is not an option." He succeeds to pull all these people through a magical gravity force in one strong virtual team. One team aligned towards one goal: to save the lives of the astronauts. These are 7 days filled with incredible character strength, genius feats of engineering, but above all, an extraterrestrial triumph of leadership. On the 17th of April, the land capsule of Apollo 13 lands, or rather splashes in the Pacific, and the 3 astronauts are rescued. This is a miracle. This is virtual power. This is a virtual power team. Now, why I'm telling you this story? How many of you have worked on a project where you have an unexpected change in the middle? Just raise your hand. How often is the go-live date brought forward or the budget reduced and you still have to deliver, but with less energy? Or how often the team members spread in different locations lose motivation and that deteriorates the team performance? I personally heard the statement, "Houston, we have a problem," more than once in my career. Luckily, it was never life and death situation, but for the project, it was quite critical. Now, COVID pandemic brought us and forced us to work virtually. And we responded well with good digital skills, honed with our communication with family and friends. But the longer this period expands, the more we need to resolve conflicts remotely. We need to set goals remotely, make decisions remotely, establish a structured communication, not just manager-centric or problem-centric, but a structured one where everyone can contribute and shine. And establish a winning spirit, maintain the winning team spirit, and even improve it despite the distance, time zones, and cultures. And for this, we need a system. And now I will share with you the system called Virtual Power Teams, which I have developed over the last 28 years. Based on it, we will start building your own virtual power teams. In the last 28 years, I have worked 20 years as a corporate manager. I manage large international teams with 100+ team members. I was leading global projects. Then I was leading the project delivery unit for Europe, having 30 project managers, a flat team. And then the last 4 years, I was IT services manager, head of IT services for Eastern Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So I had a chance to work with large teams in many different countries, in different time zones, from different cultures. And from these experiences, from our victories as a team, but also from my mistakes, I developed this method called Virtual Power Teams. And the method comprises the 10 big rocks. So the 10 big rocks are the 10 success factors for retaining the gravity and unleashing the team power. Why gravity? From all the experiences, I can tell that the virtual team is like the atom. The atom where you have a nucleus and then you have various particles flying around. In a virtual team, we aim to retain the gravity despite the distance. The gravity between the individual team members, which are the particles in this model, towards the nucleus. But the nucleus is not the manager, it's not the project manager or HR manager, or even the business owner. This is the team purpose and goal. And you will see in the method Virtual Power Teams, we set a lot of emphasis for retaining the gravity and establishing the nucleus, the goal bottom up, where we involve the team members. Only in this way, when you involve and engage them in a streamlined process, you could have a good gravity, you could have their engagement and commitment. And in the last 8 years, I decided to leave the safe corporate life and to follow my dream. My dream and my passion to become an inspirational speaker. So age 42, I left and sailed away on the speaker journey. And I had a chance to work with over 100 clients, most of them global multinationals, where we were building powerful virtual teams for them and delivering projects faster and aiming for productivity. But also there were some mid-sized businesses which were growing, and we were building powerful virtual and now hybrid teams also with their partners, not just with their employees, but their key strategic partners beyond the organizational boundaries. And now recently I'm working also with startups, scaling, sometimes exponentially scaling and expanding startups, where they get the best talents wherever they happen to be and integrate them into the powerful virtual teams. Let's now start rolling and rock and rolling with the Virtual Power Teams and the 10 big rocks.